Hey YouTube, what's up? This is the Crimson Comic coming back at you. This time I'm gonna do my collection video, so I'll show you all the graphic novels and whatnot that I have. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit of a fan of the Flash. Got a few figures and these bookends here. This is a cool little thing. It's the Flash video game based off the 1990s Flash show that aired for only one season. But not the greatest game, but you know, it is what it is. So anyways, let's get right into it. This is my top shelf. And the reason these books are up here are pretty much just because they don't fit on the rest of my shelf below. So that's why they're up here. That's why there's just a bunch of random books here. These are pretty much just like oversized hardcovers that don't fit down below here. So first up, from Fantagraphics, we got Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck. This is the Don Rosa Library, Volume 3. I picked this up just because I found it for a good deal, and so that's why it's Volume 3. I'd like to get some of the other volumes at some point because I did enjoy what I read of that. Then we got Claus, How Santa Claus Began by Grant Morrison, art by Dan Mora. Big fan of Christmas things and Santa lore and all that, so if there's a comic about Christmas, I'll pretty much pick it up and give it a try. So next up, continuing with the trend, Batman Noel. And then we have Batman and the Flash, the Button, the deluxe hardcover edition. And then Star Trek The Next Generation and Doctor Who crossover. It's Assimilation. It's pretty much where the cyborgs and the Borgs like team up, and then so the Doctor and the crew of the Enterprise during the Next Generation team up, and yeah, it was a fun little read. And then the first two volumes of the Mice Templar. Really good stuff. Good fantasy books with mice as the main characters. And then, last but not least, The Haunted Mansion. Really great read. Highly recommend it if you're into Disney, and specifically The Haunted Mansion. It's a really fun read. A lot of little nods to the ride and some of the lore around it. Written by Joshua Williamson, too, who is currently writing The Flash for Rebirth and all that. So that's my top shelf. So now we'll move down. All right, so my next shelf, mostly DC, as you can probably tell. I collect mostly DC, so that's what you're gonna see the most. But starting off, we have most of my crisis events, team up books, things like that I just kind of collect together because they don't really fit in anywhere else. I try to keep like superhero books, like my Batman stuff, Flash stuff, Green Lantern, all together. So I put all the Crisis stuff at the beginning in the event books and whatnot. So first up, we got Crisis on Infinite Earths, the classic, Legends. It's the 30th anniversary edition. 0 Hour, Crisis in Time, Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, Day of Judgment. And then we have Flashpoint here too, which I've debated whether or not putting that with the Flash, since it's primarily focuses on the Flash, but it affects the whole DC universe. But then Kingdom Come, some great Alex Ross stuff. And then next up, we have Infinite Crisis, Fight for the Multiverse, which is Volume 2. I'm currently reading Volume 1, which is why it's not right here. But this is not to be confused with this Infinite Crisis. This is actually based off of the video game. It was a MOBA, kind of like League of Legends or Dota. But they made a comic, and it's pretty cool because they have a bunch of these like characters from the DC multiverse where they come together to have to stop this crisis, you know, much like a lot of these crisis event books are. But this one just focuses on a lot of the multiverse characters. They have this Green Lantern that's kind of like a knight, and they have the Catwoman from the Gaslight universe that Gotham by Gaslights takes place in. So kind of cool. Enjoying it so far. The writing's okay. Nothing to write home about, but then next up, New 52 Future's End, Volume 1, and then A Very DC Rebirth Holiday. That was a fun read. Then now we're getting into Batman stuff. We have Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Nightfall, Batman Haunted Night, Long Halloween and Dark Victory. Probably my favorite Batman stuff I've read so far. And then Gotham Academy Volume 1 and 2. Want to continue reading that, just haven't yet. Batman Superman Crossworld Volume 1. And then Showcase presents Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. Some of these you'll have seen from my first haul video. But then here, Earth 2, The Gathering. And then the Golden Age Flash Archives, Volumes 1 and 2. Really happy to have these books in my collection. And then The Life Story of the Flash by Iris Allen. Ooh. Got my little Flash PDP character here. PDP is the name of the company. It's a Pixel Pal. It lights up too, which is kind of cool. But anyways. And then the first 4 volumes of the Flash Chronicles, which I wish I would have known when I started buying these that they were going to be making the new collections of his Silver Age antics, because I would have just waited and got those. But it is what it is, and I'll continue getting those as they release books past this, which I think Volume 2 actually collects some of Volume 4. Volume 2 of the new books collect some of Volume 4 and on. But anyways. And then The Flash Rebirth by Jeff Johns. Not to be confused with the current Rebirth Flash stuff. But, and then next up we have Volumes 2, 3, and 4 of The Flash in his Rebirth run by Joshua Williamson. You may be wondering why there's a huge gap here. I actually started reading comics during the New 52 when it started out, and so I actually own all of the single issues of the Flash's New 52 run. So I didn't double dip. One day I might, but I haven't double dipped yet, so that's why I don't have them. And I read up to Volume 2 in single issues, so that's where I started getting trades, and that's when I decided I'm gonna go the way of trades and hardcovers and collected editions rather than single issues. But yeah, so that's why there's a giant gap. And then next up we have Flash and Green Lantern, The Brave and the Bold. Fun read. Then next up we have Green Lantern Rebirth, Green Lantern Wanted, which I got for really cheap. That's why I just have this one random book. And then the Sinestro Corps Wars Volumes 1 and 2. And then Green Lantern Secret Origin, and we start into the Blackest Night stuff, which starts here and then continues on to the next shelf. They're not really in any particular order, but we have Blackest Night Green Lantern, Blackest Night Green Lantern Corps, and then Blackest Night Black Lantern Corps, Volume 1. So now we'll move to Shelf 3 and continue in the Green Lantern fun. Alright, Shelf 3 it is. Continuing on with the Blackest Night stuff, we have Blackest Night Volume 2 of Black Lantern Corps, Blackest Night Rise of the Black Lanterns, Blackest Night Tales of the Corps, and then get into Brightest Day Volumes 1 through 3 there. And then I started picking up Green Lantern New 52 stuff, which I haven't read yet. Just kind of been picking it up as I find it for cheap. So we have Volumes 1, 3, and 5. So still need to get 2 and 4, but get those when I can find them for a good price. And then next up is Star Trek and Green Lantern Crossover, Volumes 1 and 2, which are great. I really enjoyed these. Now, some people will probably not care about it because it takes place in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe. But honestly, they were just really fun, enjoyable reads, and I highly recommend them if you're into Green Lantern and Star Trek, because they just do some fun stuff, and it's actually a really good crossover in my opinion. So continuing on, we have Showcase Presents Justice League of America Volume 2, which I got for super cheap. That's why I picked it up, just to read some Silver Age Justice League stuff. And then Justice League Origins Volume 1, and then Justice League Throne of Atlantis, which is Volume 3, and Justice League The Grid, which is Volume 4. I've read Volume 1. I need to get 2, and then I'll read 3 and 4, obviously. But next up, we have Volumes 1, 2, and 3 of JSA starting off by Robinson, but then it switches over to Jeff Johns. And then we have Volume 1 of Martian Manhunter, which I probably should have read some other stuff prior to this, because I was kind of confused by some of the things. It just kind of picks up and goes. So I don't know if there's something I should have read before this, but I just saw it as Volume 1, and I was like, I wouldn't mind reading some more Martian Manhunter stuff. But anyways, next up we have Jack Kirby's classic New Gods. This is a black and white edition, unfortunately. But it was the cheapest one I could find at the time to read his New God stuff. Then we have Volume 1 of The Shade. I got this because I really like The Shade in Joshua Williamson's Flash run when he shows up in Volume 2. So that's why I picked this up, because I was like, oh, Shade, he's cool. I want to learn more about him. So, which, this was okay, not bad. And then Starman Omnibus Volume 1, and then Superboy Smallville Attacks by Jeff Lemire, which I really wish this didn't get canceled, because I really liked it and thought it was going some interesting places, and they leave a lot of things open because it got canceled, and so they couldn't answer a lot of the questions, which was unfortunate, but I really liked it for what it was. And I really hadn't read anything about Superboy too much, aside from seeing him in Young Justice. This was kind of my only foray into his comics, so it was good. And then Superman Volume 1, What Price Tomorrow is the New 52. Didn't really care for it. I don't think many people really did, but yeah, so I didn't continue on with that. Then we have Swamp Things Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. Looking forward to continuing this series. I've been really enjoying it. Loved Snyder's stuff, and interested to see where Soule, or however you say his name, I think Charles Soule, where he takes it. And then got the classic Watchmen by Alan Moore. Enough said. And then my DC collections of their Amalgam comics, Volumes 1 and 2. Really fun reads. If you want, you can watch my overview video of these, where we take a closer look and see DC's amalgamized characters. And then now we're getting into Image stuff. So here I got Volumes 1 and 2 of Birthright by Joshua Williamson. Picked these up after I read The Flash by him, because I was really enjoying his writing and wanted to see some other stuff by him. So picked those up. Enjoyed it. We'll continue that series. Then Descender, Volume 1. Another series. It's really good, from Image. Definitely going to be continuing this. Five Ghosts, Volume 1. I need to pick up Volume 2, because I think I just need to get it and read it, because I'm pretty sure that it's only a 2-volume run, so I just need to get it and finish it. I liked what I read here, so I'm sure I'll enjoy Volume 2. And then next up, Invincible, Volumes 1 through 9, by Robert Kirkman. Definitely will finish reading this at some point, especially now that the series has ended. Then I know exactly how much I have to read. It's not just a thing that will continue forever. It's a little more obtainable, but yeah, looking forward to get more into there. Then we have, randomly, The Walking Dead Volume 17. I read the first two compendiums that Image released of The Walking Dead, and then I got this volume because this is what picked up after the second compendium, and then I started getting the single issues when I was picking up singles, but then I've since stopped, and I just kind of got tired with the series. I'm sure it's still good and people still enjoy it, but I just decided I was done, so haven't read anything. I forget what issue I ended on, but yeah, so anyways. Next up, we got volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Serenity, Those Left Behind, Better Days, and The Shepherd's Tale. There is a fourth volume. I actually have all those in singles, which is why I don't have the fourth volume here, but maybe one day I'll double dip and pick that up just to have the complete set. But yeah, really good books. I especially like The Shepherd's Tale. It's just a good story about Shepherd from the show / movie. But yeah, if you're into Serenity, I highly recommend picking these up because it's just more fun within the universe and with the gang. And then next up, I have Over the Garden Wall, which I believe used to be, used to be like subtitled Tome of the Unknown, but they don't have it here. Maybe when it was first released or something, I think. But this is based off the show that was on Cartoon Network called Over the Garden Wall. Really great show. Kind of odd, kind of whimsical and wacky, but so good. Highly recommend it. And the comics aren't too bad either, but definitely watch the show if you get the chance. And then this is volume 1 of the ongoing series. And then now we're getting into Marvel. And I have up here Captain America, Red, White, and Blue. Which, it was okay. Just a random selection of stories. But yeah, so that's that. Now we'll move onto the fourth and final shelf. And so we'll pick up from there. All right. Now we're on the last shelf here. Continuing with Marvel. We got Devil Dinosaur by Jack Kirby. I actually enjoyed it. It's definitely of its time, but I enjoyed it enough to pick up Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Volume 1, which it's fun. I'll probably at some point pick up the rest of the volumes and continue on with that. But then next up we have Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 1, The Inhumans, and then you might know how well you can see these because these other books kind of stick out, but we got Spider-Man One More Day, which I don't think is highly regarded, but I remember when I read that so long ago that I enjoyed it, but probably because I had no context. Whoop. And then lastly, from Marvel and Nelson Publishing, The Screwtape Letters, which is a comic adaptation of C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. And then next we're getting into Archaea with the Mouse Guard series, volumes 2 and 3, and then the Baldwin the Brave and Other Tales. I have volume 1, Fall, but currently lending that out to a friend to read. So I do have that, just not at the moment in my possession. And then I also have another Archaea title called Iron or The War After, which was a really good read. Fun. I recommend it, looking it up if you get the chance. But then now we're into Vertigo, which I don't really have much of, but I have this terrible book called Get Jiro. Don't read it. It's awful. And then Tron Betrayal, which is a prequel to the newer Tron movie. Kind of leads into it. And then The Zombie Survival Guide, Recorded Attacks by Max Brooks. It was okay. Didn't really care for it. It was just alright. I got it for free, so it was like, hey, whatever. And then we have volumes 1 through 6 of the Scott Pilgrim series, which can't say enough about. Really good. If you like the movie, definitely check out the comics, because they're great. And then last but not least, we have Mickey Mouse, Race to Death Valley. This is the volume 1 of the newspaper strip comics. So if you're into that kind of thing, I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm a big Disney fan, so that's why I have like the Duck comics and Haunted Mansion and this Mickey Mouse. I'm a big Disney fan, so whatever I can get my hands on, I'll read. But yeah, so if you're into comic strips from newspapers and Disney and Mickey Mouse, check it out. It's a fun read. But yeah, so other than that, that's my collection. That's all my collected editions. I do have some singles, which maybe at some point I'll do kind of a quick collection video of all my single issues, which like I said, I have the complete New 52 Flash run, and then I have quite a few issues of The Walking Dead, and some other stuff randomly that I was reading at the time. But yeah, so if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, give my channel a subscribe if you haven't already. Glad you could join me. If you have any recommendations based on what you've seen in my collection currently, feel free to let me know. I'm always looking for new books to read, and love hearing what you guys are interested in and what I might be interested in. So yeah, let me know what you collect primarily and what you think I would like. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. See you next time.